Trabaja o dice trabajar guiado por elevadas jerarquías espirituales que hacen de sus técnicas un chamanismo elevado, sutil y profundamente espiritual. No utiliza plantas ni sustancias para su trabajo. Vayamos al conversando.
When we talk about young people and relationships and business and life and coming, you got to come out of the womb of your family, yet you have to feel their support. This is a huge thing, and some kids never have that. They separate very young, and they rebel, and then they have to prove themselves. There is a great deal of corruption now. A lot of our parents are corrupt. They're not innately corrupt. Everybody is innately good. But corruption is so much a part of business. And all the different arrangements and compromises that we make, that we grow up with it and we have a stiffness towards it, that we don't want to see it, that it just is part of life and makes us rigid. And young people feel that. They feel the corruption everywhere. They ask me, if there's any hope in this world. And there is, it is the development of a human being. When you're around this kind of corruption, you have to know that you're pure. It's kind of the core of who you are. And nothing will ever corrupt your soul, really, ultimately. And I feel that, we have to move beyond 9 years old, and this is what spirituality is about. We just keep repeating it, everything we learned up to 9 years old. And that's a sad thing, because you just hear the same stories over and over after a while. Abandonment, all the main issues. Gurdjieff talked about 10 basic issues of abandonment, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not good enough for anybody, and, guilt is not a real thing. It's an illusion. It doesn't actually stay in the aura. You have an aura, this egg, right, the auric field. And guilt doesn't register there. While drugs do. When you take drugs, you don't have an aura. So it's a really dangerous thing, because drugs can only take you so far. And like crack cocaine or heroin or marijuana. But you don't have an aura when you're in them. And so what happens is you get holes in your aura eventually, and things enter you. There are other spirits here, just for security. I work with 72 names of the divine, and in Kabbalah. And I chant them every morning, and I do the 109 names of God and the Divine Mother in India, too. I do their chants, because they work, because I connect to all the different energies that are God. The Elohim, to me, are all these different energies. There's so many of them, and I like to identify what all of them are, so that I know all about God, so that I know all about myself. The different parts of me that affect me as archetypes or whatever. All 109 of them. And then to put them into action. Nothing is real until you act. So young people need to start believing that they can make a difference, that they can act. And you can't just dream about being a musician. You just can't dream about making films or, whatever. Young people now all want to make music or make films or, whatever. They want to write, whatever they want to do. They have to take the action to do it. You can't just dream about it in your room. You got to take steps towards it. Because the universe is only going to give you, the divine is only going to give you what you already moved towards, what you're already making steps towards. You got to lay the groundwork. You got to lay the foundations. And you just say, universe, I did my work. I prepared everything. I'm trying. Cut me a break, help me. Because I did my homework, and the universe finds the right moment. I did my homework. It's your soul, it's your spirit. Believe in yourself, and your mother's going to help build you up and tell you what's good about you, not what's wrong with you. You're not lazy. You just need your own space. Here you go. One. Just take it out. Ah, I'm feeling it. 1, 2. The soul being the 8th chakra above your head. These are chakras, these spinning wheels. They're like little water, you know, you put your finger in, they're like little water funnels that go down. I always funnels, chakras, because they're kind of funnels. So, you know, when you start to see them, you can go in. You can move them around with your finger. You know, you can take stuff out, because people dump stuff into you all day long. Like when a woman's menstruating. Basically, people, they take on all the negativity in their environment when they're menstruating. This is why we don't allow women, when they're menstruating, to be around too many people with a lot of problems. Because they just take it in, they burn it, burn it. That's what menstruation's for. You take all the negativity of the world and you burn it. And, you know, when a husband comes home and she's menstruating, she's burning all his work life, everybody. So it's a great time for a woman to be alone in her own power. She doesn't have to burn everybody else. She can burn all her issues, you know, all her lives. And if she does it focused and concentrated, which is what yoga is, you know, yoga was made for menstruating women in India to teach them how to not have pain during menstruation, how to move it. That's why women are discovering it, right? Because they're discovering that they don't have to be always in pain. Because childbirth pain or whatever, you know. And I think for young people, they have to understand that someone's listening to them. Of course, we're not all asleep. There's enlightened people here. Not that many. You know, a lot of them have left now. All the big masters have left the world. But they've left seeds in us. Saint-Germain, Le Comte de Saint-Germain, all these people who took this white powder. People who were teachers before, they were great, that lived. Been through a great deal around death. Not only my father dying, my sister dying, the majority of my friends dying. If you just stay with them, it's a witnessing of the whole process. Without judgment. The most important thing is not to have regrets when you're dying. So you want to go through your regrets, you want to call children that you didn't talk to. You want to live every day as if you're about to die. I'm going to die at 11 o'clock today. How would I live my life? Would I start giving money away? Would I start, you know, I'd be much more generous. I'd finish up all the things I really wanted to do in my life in one day. I would be fearless. Because what would it matter? And that's the way my friends and I are learning to be fearless. Because we're going to die. It's inevitable. So live fully. And dying. First, there's many things that happen. Basically, the 5 elements retreat themselves. So you lose your sense of smell, you lose your sight, you know, everything is like you're the heat loses your body, right? You become cold. And then you leave, you know, that moment when you leave, and then you see the first lights, that orange light, like sunset. And then the other light, you know, these 2 different lights are the male and female in you. You're trying to have an awareness of them. What happens when you die is in the back of your heart, there's a knot here. There's a knot that keeps the heart connected to the spine. And what happens is it opens. And all of a sudden, the male and female come together in the heart. This is, you know, the dissolution of everything. You can't see anymore. There's no reality. You know? There's nothing outside anymore. There's a higher. If you're prepared for death, there's a clear light at death. The blue fire. I love the Incas because they're always calling in the sun into their hearts. Inti, come into my heart. I draw the sun into my heart. This is this inner light. That the sun isn't out there, it's here. I become the light of the world. I would like to be a child of the light. A child of the sun. Please help me to do that. That's always my prayer. Help me to grow towards the light, not towards my ignorance. Right? So when you're dying, you see this clear light. And it's so subtle. And if you go towards it, you don't have to incarnate here anymore. But everybody misses it. They don't see it. Everybody chance later. What happens then when you're dead? Your mind, the contents of your mind, the substance of your mind, creates scenarios, phantasms. Basically, all the negative thoughts you've had over your life create the monsters that go after you, and scenarios that frighten you to death. First, you go through the negative things, all the terrible things you did, and this is what you call your own judgment of yourself, basically. And in spirituality, you're trained not to react. You're trained that these things are not real, they have no substance. And the same with the good things that you see too in your life. You can't identify with either. You know, not heaven nor hell. So it's an incredible thing. And you get the light again, the clear light, if you accept it. I can't tell you what happens. Something extraordinary. Beyond the beyond, you know, the unnameable. I remember I died, you know, on lightning. I went through all these stages. And I had all these different times that I could just not come back here. Just remember my first experience of the divine. Beyond male and female, beyond names. Just this incredible force. I was always at peace after that. Oh, it didn't matter. My life, you know, death or life, death was just a transition, right? I was still alive. I was more alive, actually. I was actually much happier after death. You know, life is more vivid. But some people, they just fall asleep, you know, when they die, and that's it. They just sleep because that's what they think death is, and then somebody has to wake them up and take them to the next thing. You know, I admired Aleister Crowley, this incredible magician, you know, who started EMI record, you know, later on all these people started EMI records and all these different things from Crowley, Scientology, all this crazy stuff. But he himself, you know, was a wild person who had control over his body. He could make his body do different things just through his mind. And, you know, he indulged it because he didn't have a purpose. So he started to isolate his brain patterns. And they're demons. You know, when you take brain patterns outside of your body, that's what a demon is. They look like demons, everything. So he interacted with all these different demons, and, you know, you can make demons do all sorts of things for you. You know, this is the magic. He learned a very high magic, the watchtowers, you know, which we all use, the Enochian magic. The magic of angels, basically. Angels teach you magic. You learn so much about how to control yourself, and it scares you. And without a purpose, it's just an indulgence. And we're all enlightened when we're born. We're all enlightened when we die. We just don't remember. The key is to remember, to not forget yourself. Self-remembering. Eventually, you know, while you're dying is the last thought before you die is the most important. You know, that's why we name our children names like Lisa, to think of Isis, or, you know, Love, Anand, your children, all sorts of different things, Maria, so that you will remember that as the last thought before you die. You want to call in whatever helpers you have on earth. You want to have teachers on earth who help you when you die. They will, they can help you. But you are responsible for yourself. That's the most important thing. You're responsible for everything that happens in your life. Every thought, every feeling, everything is creating your life. You are totally responsible. As you can't just give your power away to God or something. You know, it's not going to happen. You got to take responsibility for the contents. What are you going to put in this vessel, this temple? Are you going to pollute it, or are you going to... Most people are just in self-destruction, right? They're just polluting themselves. They don't see their body as a temple. They're taught that to destroy.
What are we weaving the grasses? What are we weaving the grasses? Stories are weaving.
It's the same experiment as America, right? It's all these different cultures coming together. Same exact experiment for me. How do they live together? You know, Africans, Europeans, indigenous people. And they did the experiment so differently than USA. And they created such a unique culture from it that I'm fascinated by Brazil. Argentinians, though, I mean, certainly brought in a great deal more Europeans, like Chile and these countries. This is much more European-based. And there was a decimation of Indian populations, which is a sadness here in the land for all these cattle. There are such great resources in all of Latin America. It is the fire of the South. It's that red, fiery passion that the world needs. Latin America, there's so much to say here, but I love it because a lot of people are children. Some people are here being way too macho, you know, and that's destroying the people here. You know, the essence of the militars. I love military strength, whatever, but this is a little too much. You know, everything in moderation. You know, you can't go to either extreme. I just think people are where they are and they need to learn self-governance. Governance of themselves first, and then you create a government from that. So we have a lot of desires, and the best thing to do with them is to frustrate them if you want to have power, if you want to have energy. And the way you do that, your frustrated desire is, you know, am I going to sleep with that woman? Am I going to sleep with that man? You know, even though I'm married, even though... Do I sleep with this person, even though I'm in a relationship? It's called frustrating desire. Do I buy that Prada bag, right? That's the big thing. Do I... do I give in to my desires? And the idea is, don't, but get really close. So, I meet that person in an elevator. I want to have sex with them, but I don't. I keep meeting them. I want to have sex. I'm dreaming about it. I'm thinking about them all the time. I'm obsessed now. I'm frustrating my desire. It's getting closer and closer. The pressure. And then it comes to the moment I make a date. I'm about to go there. I arrive at the door, and then I don't sleep with them. So that fire that you're building turns to ash. The ash is the power. We work to sweat, right? Blood, sweat, and tears, which is all salt. Sweat keeps us fresh, like the dew in the morning. So when you frustrate desire, you get power. You don't give in to your temptations. You know, sometimes we think we want to control everything and then comes chaos. And when we do voluntary chaos, we go to a higher order. So mercurial temperament is the way my mind works. It's very mercurial. It enters into everything. It is flying like Mercury, like Hermes. It's very tricky and interesting and clever. I love clever people, you know. I'm not just the mind, though. So Mercury is the temperament to have. It's fluid. It's changing form. Who are you? This is the big question. Who am I? You know, and you have to separate things out to distinguish who you are and what we all came here with a destiny. You must live your destiny, and if you don't have a destiny, you need to create one. Because the only way to really have focus in life is to have a destiny. If you're here to make films, if you're here to become a doctor, to become a lawyer, to become an accountant, whatever you came here for, whatever's your dream, on some level you gotta live it because it's before you. You chose that before you incarnated it, actually. And you know, you have guides. Like I have my nun, that is my guide. She has many breasts, but she's very interesting. And then I have my other guide. You know, life always tricks you. You know, it's very mercurial. And it's very iron, too. Inside of the earth is the iron, and we try to turn that into gold. Our own nature. We take one addiction in us, and we have to turn that into gold. We have to take one dark thing in us, in our life, and work with it. One way that we sabotage ourselves, and just concentrate on that, that's how you get there. That's how you become realized. That's how you frustrate desire. I think what is important is that there is an end to suffering. There is a true tremendous amount of bliss if you follow it. You can't get lost there. You can't hold on to anything here. And happiness is a new concept for people to want happiness, which drives them towards their better self. Right? I mean, people want to please other people all the time. They're just living so that that other person won't be upset. You know, like young girls, they're always good girls because they don't want to upset daddy. They don't want him to get angry. You know, so they become little good girls. They got to outgrow that. Or they'll never take action. Or men who have to find a voice and not just take care of women all their life. What if they learn to take care of themselves? What if they believed in themselves, finally? Without an ego, you know, and not so much ego. You have to have a little ego, but not let your ego tell you all the time, you know, what's right for you, what's wrong for you, and how to avoid this, and go, you know, the ego's in a big game. It's making you miss most of life. It's only for 9 years old, and then you need to start moving away from that.
Foster Perry interviene intensamente con cada uno de sus seguidores a través de una profunda sanación chamánica.